Hello everyone, this is Daniel, and I have something to say about sticker shock and how antichrist this really is. So what's going on with the dollar bill shrinking so much? Are they producing too much? Obviously they are. They're producing too many dollar bills for the people to understand, this is like people are, there are people that are being paid $15 an hour or a little more or a little less just to, have a minimum wage. Then there are other jobs that are not catching up. Then there are other jobs that just barely know that they're catching up, and they get paid a little more than that. And other jobs say, okay, we just paid $4 per hour more just to, just be a little above minimum wage because we didn't realize we had to pay that much. It's really, people don't realize how, this is like the money, the money, amount of money that is basically coming. It's basically what do you call it? Like the printing press has gone off the rails. Like the printing press has literally gone off the rails, and unfortunately, people don't realize how much things cost these days. So, if you're planning on getting a huge amount of groceries, prepare for $700. Like literally prepare for $700 for a huge grocery list, and for an average grocery list, prepare for $300, because you're going to be paying for 1 week $400 to $500 per week. That's how much you're being paid. That's how much you're paying. Not to mention how much you're being paid at that time. So it's no wonder that the price of bread one day will literally be, the price of bread will literally be a whole day's wages, like a whole week, like a whole 2 weeks wages is going to be for the price of bread. And then there's also going to be oil. That's pretty much the same thing. It's the oil and the wine. It's basically rich people, but then it's the average people that just don't have any food. It's going to be so much of a famine that people will die from famine. People will die from war. People will die from creatures, and death will just be everywhere. And the people that are most vulnerable to this overwhelming amount of printing press money being going off the rails is the elderly that don't even realize, wow, things are so expensive. I just forgot how much bread was. It was a whole day's wages, like a whole 2 weeks' wages. And not to mention how much other things are, like houses and all that. People will be homeless everywhere, all over America. And honestly, China's going to be benefiting from this, and they're going to be the ones, suffering too. And the main countries that benefit from this are the rich ones. Like Australia might benefit from a little bit. Yet even then, the riches are going to be for those that, the rich ones are going to get the mark of the beast, many of them. And many people that are very poor are going to get the mark of the beast as well. It's going to be a fine mess. A real fine mess there. Not only that, all of this is coming from the devil, who is telling people to make more money for everyone because it's just more convenient. All it's doing, right, my fellows, is confusing people. It's making them think, oh, it's just regular amount of pay for everything else, except for me, and it's making the whole world worse. It's a whole world of pain because, people thought, it's just more pay, and I'll still have the same amount of money to get to restaurants. I mean, think of it this way. If you're raising the wage on places like restaurants for, oh gosh, like $10 to $15, it's like 50%. Be willing to sacrifice 40% of the people's money for the just basically 40%. If the food is going to be 40% more expensive at restaurants, well, at grocery stores it's going to be like 20% more for the wage that is really gone up for the other people. So really, keep this in mind that in order to keep the society happy, you're not going to raise the minimum wage. To keep the society happy, actually what you should do is first drop the food first and housing and all that is item related and not coding. Then drop that next, the coding and all the other things that are less important. Like roads may be less important as well. Then have everything be costing less, and that has actually made a lot of people happy in the 50s. Like, ice cream for 25 cents. Nah, I don't know if it was like that much, but probably like 20 cents for ice cream. And everyone was so happy in the 50s. They enjoyed life. But now that ice cream is like $7, $8, people are so unhappy and they want to be paid more. It's just brutal. So remember, people are suffering because everything is more expensive because they want more money. People have become so sinful because they want more money and they've become a lot more unhappy. Back in the 50s, the money was a lot less, the value of the money was a lot more, and people were much happier back then. They were so much happier. Remember, this is end times prophecy. The price of bread will cost a whole 2 weeks of your wage. And that's all you're going to get. It's for the whole 2 weeks. You're just going to get bread. And that's just not just minimum wage, but if maybe $500 after that. So for people that have minimum wage, they're going to die off. I'm afraid. Just remember what I've said, okay? And hopefully you'll be caught up in the rapture. Now I leave you with 2 choices. Either accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, or reject Him. But if you reject Him, you'll literally be eaten by worms, by maggots, be put in a flame, be marinated to bone. Demons will torture you and put spears in you. They'll rip you to parts and rip you to pieces and break every bone in your body. It'll be so hot down there that you can't even breathe. You can't even move. Imagine, sleep paralysis and how bad that is. Now imagine how bad that will be if you can't even move and it's all real life. Not only that, hell is a scary place, full of monsters all over the place, crawling with monsters. Now, everything is just monster down there, and you yourself are just this corrupted body, more corrupt than this earthly body. And not only that, you'd rather just die down there, but you can't even die because of how bad it is. There's too much torture to even imagine how bad it could be down there. And not only that, you can't even sleep. You can't even sleep down there. You're always awake because of all the screams of terror. You hear the yelps of people and all the screaming. And just people scared to death. And even then, they can't even awake from that. Then there's accepting Jesus as your Lord and Savior, which is true salvation. If you believe that Jesus did all of that on the cross for all of your sins. That's only by believing in him that you cannot do any of this yourself. You cannot. You're incapable of, um, saving yourself from heaven, from hell. You're incapable of saving yourself from hell, and all you have to do is be perfect, and no one's perfect, and they're all sinners. There's an escape. Jesus is the escape. Believe in that. Then accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, because that's the ABC of salvation. There's no other way out except through Jesus. We've all fallen short. One sin is enough to send you to hell. And my friends, we've all done that except for Jesus. He is a perfect man. All just and he's all perfect and just. And perfect in performance. No human has been able to do that ever since. No human has ever done that ever before he has done that. So remember, the only one you must believe in is Jesus. Then accept him as your Lord and Savior. Because remember, by calling out to Jesus to save you, that's the final step. Know that you're a sinner, believe that he has done it for you, and then call out. Because hell is full of, it's full of it's full of evil. It's full of torment. People will be weeping, screaming, and gnashing their teeth. It'll sound like the shattering of rats. People will literally be grinding their teeth to fine powder because of how horrible it is. Even the smell is so horrible that you smell only death. Just remember that hell is that horrible. More horrible than you can imagine. Just accept Jesus as Lord and Savior, okay? Alright, hope you don't know, okay? Bye.